Worms ate up thousands of books but did not receive a certificate of erudition. Consider the metaphor of worms eating books. They may consume thousands of pages filled with the wisdom of ages. Yet despite their voracious reading habits, you'll never find a worm with a certificate of erudition. Why is that? It's because simply consuming information doesn't equate to understanding it. The worms might be surrounded by knowledge, but they lack the ability to comprehend what they're consuming. They're not gaining wisdom, they're simply eating paper. Now, this isn't just about worms and books. It's a metaphor that applies to our everyday lives. Think about the countless hours spent scrolling through social media, post after post, image after image, video after video. A ceaseless stream of information, consumed but often not truly absorbed or reflected upon. Is this not akin to our book-eating worms? And what about online courses and tutorials? The internet is a treasure trove of knowledge, a vast library at our fingertips. Yet just like our worms, we can consume this information without truly understanding it. Watching a lecture or completing a module doesn't automatically confer wisdom. Without active engagement, without applying what we've learned in a real-world context, we're not gaining true understanding. Then there's the act of reading without reflection. We live in a time where access to reading material is unparalleled. But if we read without pausing to contemplate what we've learned, to connect ideas and question assumptions, we're no better than our book-eating worms. We're consuming, but not comprehending. Finally, consider the modern habit of multitasking. Listening to podcasts while exercising, scrolling through emails during meetings, we're constantly exposed to new information. But with our attention divided, are we truly engaging with what we're learning? Or are we simply consuming like our worms without gaining real understanding? In each of these scenarios, the underlying truth is the same. Merely consuming information doesn't lead to true knowledge or understanding. Just as worms eating books don't become erudite, we don't become wise by passively absorbing information. Real understanding, real wisdom comes from practicing active learning. Instead of passively consuming content, actively engage with the material by asking questions, making connections to previous knowledge, and challenging assumptions. Develop critical thinking skills. Developing critical thinking skills enables you to evaluate information more effectively and form well-reasoned opinions. Ask yourself, what evidence supports this claim? Are there alternative viewpoints? How does this information fit into the broader context? Set aside time for reflection. Allocate time for reflection and contemplation to consolidate your learning and deepen your understanding. Whether through journaling, meditation, or simply taking walks in nature, find ways to disconnect from constant stimuli and allow your mind to process and integrate new information. Seek diverse perspectives. Actively seek out diverse perspectives and viewpoints to broaden your understanding of complex issues. Engage in discussions with people who have different backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences, and be open to challenging your own assumptions. Exposure to diverse perspectives fosters intellectual growth and empathy. Focus on depth over breadth. Instead of trying to consume a vast amount of information superficially, prioritize depth of understanding in select areas of interest. Invest time and effort in delving deeply into topics that matter to you, exploring them from multiple angles and seeking mastery rather than surface-level familiarity. Practice mindful consumption. Be intentional about what information you consume and how you consume it. Limit distractions, such as excessive social media scrolling or multitasking, and focus on high-quality, reputable sources of information. By incorporating these strategies into your approach to learning and information consumption, you can move beyond the metaphorical bookworm behavior and cultivate true erudition characterized by deep understanding, critical thinking, and intellectual curiosity. So take a moment to consider your own habits. Are you truly digesting the information you consume, or are you a worm mindlessly munching through books? The path to true erudition lies not in consumption, but in comprehension.